This podcast is for your ears only. I'm Judelyn Gibson of the Second Street Dreams Audio Network. This is the December 6th, 2025 episode of Classical Music in Colors. You're listening to the music of Kyle Rivera, the latest winner of a competition that almost disappeared under the current administration. There's also a call out for partners to help produce Windrush, the opera, from a UK opera company dedicated to diversifying the art form. The Miro Quartet has released its first ever holiday album. That and more. Stay tuned.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready!
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Listen carefully to the music you're hearing now. It's a piece composed by the award-winning composer Kyle Rivera of Houston. He calls it Magatama.
The word is a Japanese word that refers to these sort of ancient jewels that are sort of used as they're used as part of the imperial regalia of Japan. So they're like sort of like a materialization of like centralized power, right? But then there's sort of this pun that comes out of Magatama as well, where if you look at the first four letters, it looks very similar to like a certain kind of like political movement of certain types of like rhetoric that are used to sort of ossify and solidify this kind of like centralized authoritarian power. So the piece is sort of like constantly trying to fight back against this, and there are certain voices that are trying to be heard over this all, but the music is constantly silencing these voices in order to say this rhetoric over it.
This piece and several others led Kyle Rivera to win the Emerging Black Composers Project. It's a program that nearly died under the current administration's federal funding cuts. That is, until the San Francisco Symphony, with the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, determined they would save it.
If you know like the story of how it came about, this sort of effort to address like systemic racism, and to see the administration come to sort of target things like this in such a pointed way really speaks to the verity of the original mission, you know?
Rivera's composition career has been a journey all over the place. Just listen to what the 29-year-old has done and is doing. How did you get involved with composing in the first place?
Oh, it was kind of an accident, honestly, because when I was in high school, I saw a harp for the first time, and I was just like really like infatuated by this instrument and wanted to like learn everything about it. And kind of my way of learning about it was by writing a piece for it. And so I kind of like learned how the harp worked, felt it out. I'd go every day and practice on it. And then I wrote a piece to sort of like help myself to engage with this thing. And it was sort of in doing that I sort of uncovered this process of using music as a way to engage with the things I'm interested in the world. And then I had a friend who, he was actually applying to be a composition major in high school. And he was like, dude, if you love composing, like you should major in music. And I was like, you can do that? Like I had no concept of that as like a real thing. I was like, people get paid to write music? And he goes, yeah, you should do it. So this was junior year of high school, and then I ended up going to University of Houston, um, which is why I studied both composition and viola, and so I was there as a double major, and I also did kinesiology, and then from there, kind of like everything was just always like this, you know. So it's like one year I was a violist, I was like gigging a bunch, I was teaching at like four different schools in Houston, and then next year I was like in Colorado, like working at a physical therapy clinic, and then like 2 years after that, I was like at Yale getting my master's for composition. So it's just like, you know,
Well, at least you have a plan B,
yeah.
but it doesn't sound like you're going to need it.
You might need it, you know, like it's been a hard year. Like right now, I'm not really like I wouldn't say I'm like composing full time because I'm working at a primary care clinic, so I'm working as a medical assistant, and then finding ways to compose in addition to that. I also play gamelan, which is like Indonesian traditional music. And so I am playing and sort of like helping to teach like a group here in Houston. Um, and then for a while I was playing with some gamelan groups in like Connecticut and in New York. And so that's also another thing that I'm doing. And then I'm also a teaching artist at a high school. And so I'm teaching like a composition class.
This piece, Black Body Collage, is one of the works he submitted in his application to the Emerging Black Composers Project. How would you describe your music? If you had to call it something, give it a name.
It's kind of like visual storytelling through sound. It's I tend to be very inspired by like the idea of world building, and sort of something having its own terms that it then has to confront in some way. But then also like a lot of color and visual gesture sort of playing a role into kind of how the music is constructed. So I think like this idea of like narrative is really important to me, drama, but also like these really vivid, kind of visceral depictions of like emotion, sound, and the world. Less about conveying really semantic meaning and more about like again this idea of like color that sort of provides like a window into seeing the world in a new way.
As part of his win, Rivera receives a $15,000 commissioning fee, a mentorship, and resources to workshop his commissioned piece with the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. The San Francisco Symphony will then premiere the work in years to come.
I think I'm gonna do basically a 3 movement work, and a lot of my music has like works with sort of these extreme metaphors. Like as you heard, like with the title, like Black Body Collage, there's a lot of like metaphor embedded in that. And so this piece is going to be the idea that I have is called whale fall, which is the idea of whales after they've passed, their bodies being the sort of foundation for like new ecosystems to emerge at the bottom of the ocean. And it's sort of this idea of like authority and like governments and societies falling to make way for like new systems of engagement, interaction, the emergence of like life after these systems have fallen.
Keep in mind that Kyle Rivera has a master's in music from Yale and is looking for even more education and adventures.
I'm applying for some doctoral degrees and then also submitted an application for a Fulbright. So Next year, I could end up back in school. I also could end up in Indonesia. I could end up wherever, you know.
I like how you like have you have an idea of what your future might look like, but it's all over the place.
Like really, since the moment I graduated high school, it just would sort of been like, all these different things happening at once.
When will you work on the piece that you're gonna write for San Francisco?
I'll find time.
Whatever happens, Kyle Rivera is grateful for what the Emerging Black Composer Project will do in the future.
What San Francisco is doing is they're providing a model for like how do we address these kinds of barriers that have been in place, and also how does the orchestra take advantage of that? Because now the conductors who are part of this orchestra have things that they can take other places, and they have sort of like it's almost like a set list, right? Where they can come back to these pieces and be like, these are our pieces, and look at the kind of ripples that they're creating in disrupting the kinds of like systems that have been in place before.
Kyle Rivera, the fifth recipient of the Michael Morgan Prize. It was renamed in 2023 in honor of the late Oakland Symphony music director. It's administered by the San Francisco Conservatory of Music and the San Francisco Symphony. Links are on the Classical Music and Colors page on secondstreetdreams.com. Coming up next, a UK opera company dedicated to diversity is looking for partners for a very important anniversary. And the Detroit Opera presents two small operas from Still and Viol.
If words were enough, I would sate your hunger. I would build for you a well, ever filled with water clean. I would work alongside as you till the field. Watch hope emerge green from the brown earth. If words were enough, I would end our misery. Watch each child of yours grow strong and true. Teach them to read and to write and to sing, so that their voices be forgotten nevermore. If words were enough, I would help you bear your burden, bring healing to your wounds, end strife. See beyond the lines on a map, beyond color, and you would know you are my sister, my brother, my child. If words were enough.
Those of you living in the UK, and London in particular, may be familiar with the Pegasus Opera Company. This 30-year-old company is devoted to diversifying and lifting the elitist veil from opera. They call it harmony in diversity.
With your support, Pegasus Opera Company can continue to deliver world-class performances, foster emerging talents, and empower communities through music. Join us in shaping the future of opera, where every voice matters.
This Brixton-based opera company is getting noticed for not only diversifying the opera canon, they are known for its diverse audiences, pit, and backstage crews. The Pegasus Opera Company is currently planning a national tour in 2028 of their new production, Windrush, the Opera. It explores the extraordinary journeys, resilience, and cultural legacy of the Windrush generation. In case you were unaware, Windrush is the name of a ship that brought Caribbean migrants and their families to the UK to help rebuild the country after World War II. They came at the invitation of the Prime Minister at the time, Clement Attlee, so they are now known as the Windrush generation. 2028 marks the 80th anniversary of the HMT Empire Windrush's arrival in the UK. The Pegasus Opera Company is currently seeking partners to help bring Windrush, the opera, to stages all over the UK. Coming up in the week ahead, the one-act opera Highway 1 USA, composed by William Grant Still in the 1940s. It took another 20 years before it received a professional production. The story centers on a couple running a gas station who are paying for the education of the husband's ne'er-do-well brother. The Detroit Opera is presenting it as a double bill they're calling Highways and Valleys, Two American Love Stories. The second opera, originally composed for radio by Kurt Weill in 1945, is Down in the Valley.
I feared so much. I waited for some news from you. Nothing came. It was Pa who wouldn't let me ride.
It tells the story of a man, Brack Weaver, who is in love with Jenny. Weaver's father, however, wants his son to attend a dance with another woman who'll help the father with his financial difficulties. There's a confrontation. Weaver ends up in jail, pining for his Jenny.
Oh, my love for you. I've always said it to you.
You don't know what it's like to be waiting alone, to be hungering for some sound of you, some word from your lips.
The production opens at the Detroit Opera House on December 7th, with more performances on the 11th and 13th. Links are on the Classical Music and Colors page on secondstreetdreams.com.
Oh, don't you see that lonesome dove?
Coming up, a new holiday album, a first from the Miro Quartet.
The boy who didn't look for a safe place to cross. He couldn't be bothered to walk to a place where cars could be seen from a nice open space. So he crossed the road right next to a bend. Now his arm for some while will be struggling to mend. A car cannot dodge what it cannot see, so flatten the boy. Unfortunately, now he can't swim, dress himself, or go-kart, 'cause his arm is all limp and falling apart. Always cross where you can see what's coming.
With the holidays upon us, you can expect there will be holiday albums from the usual suspects in the classical community. This year, the Miro Quartet has released its first holiday album. It's called Hearth. This piece is I Wonder as I Wander, arranged by Rena Ishmael. She is one of 15 composers on the album. Like multiple Grammy nominee Clarice Assad and Grammy winner Kevin Putz, who's also the 2012 Pulitzer Prize winner for his opera, Silent Night. Christmas music is not the only focus of the album. There's this one, Mayos Jour, which is known as the centuries-old soundtrack for Hanukkah. It was arranged by Sam Lipman. Hanukkah starts at sundown on Sunday, December 14th. The Miro Quartet is based in Austin, Texas, and is the quartet in residence at the University of Texas at Austin's Sarah and Ernest Butler School of Music. Links are on the Classical Music and Colors page on secondstreetdreams.com. Stay tuned for our coda about a massive gift to the Florida Orchestra.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Our coda this week is about the Florida Orchestra's huge gift. They're going to be stepping into their 2026-27 season and beyond with a gift of $10 million. $10 million. That's correct. An anonymous donor has gifted the St. Petersburg-based orchestra with the largest single donation in the orchestra's 58th-year history. The president and CEO of the Florida Orchestra, Ignacio Barron Viela, says the funds will not be used for plunging holes in the annual fund. It's earmarked, he says, as a strategic investment in the orchestra's endowment. It's not the only gift they received recently. Last year, the Florida Orchestra received two $1 million gifts. Thank you for listening to the December 6, 2025 episode of Classical Music in Colors. All links are on the Classical Music in Colors page on secondstreetdreams.com. Next week, we're talking to the author of a new book called Opera Wars. I'm Jalen Gibson.